Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to Should You Play Just Cause 3. Now this is a video that I've been waiting quite a long time to do, just because as someone that played Just Cause 2 literally to death, I think it's fair to say I was pretty excited about getting my hands on what essentially should be an improved version of Just Cause 3. Of Just Cause 2, and if you want the quick version, then that's exactly what this is. A better, improved version of Just Cause 2. But I don't really think saying that would be enough. I mean, if it wasn't, then I think everyone would be pretty disappointed and wonder what on earth had gone on. So here we are in the world of Just Cause 3, and the map is absolutely massive. You may have heard of that before, but to put that into perspective, everything you can see around here, we're literally talking that might be 1%, if that, of the map. It's absolutely huge. I'll show you it. Here's the map. This is where we are now. What you can see around you is this area here. And you can see we've got this whole island to explore. Look, absolutely massive. See, there's a few sub-islands here. It's an absolutely massive map. Oh no, sorry, wait a minute. All of this is the Grand Theft Auto. God no. All of this is the Just Cause 3 map. Absolutely huge. Look at that. And I suppose while we're talking about Grand Theft Auto, it is much, much bigger than Grand Theft Auto. And Grand Theft Auto is huge. And there's quite a bit of just... now I'm getting completely confused. There's quite a lot of just... still getting confused. Quite a lot of Grand Theft Auto map I haven't explored. So I think it's fair to say this is going to take me a very, very long time to get through it. But look at it, it's absolutely awesome. And the thing is, all of it's got such an immense amount of detail. This is running on about high settings. It goes all the way up to very high. And this is actually running with quite a few of the settings turned off as well, just to make sure we get sort of smooth performance for this video. But it's really, really cool, really intense. And it's by far one of, if not the best looking open world games of all time, period. I mean, The Witcher looks absolutely awesome. Don't get me wrong, it is absolutely fantastic, and that game running at 4K looks beautiful. But this, I think, does take it to a whole nother level. Granted, some of the aspects of the graphics can look a little bit basic up front, but I don't really think anyone has to worry if they expected maybe Just Cause 3 to look similar to Just Cause 2, because it just doesn't. It looks so much better. And when Just Cause 2 first came out, it wasn't perceived as anything but a graphical masterpiece, and this just takes it so much further. Things like trees now, they're not sprites or anything, they're proper 3D objects. It's really cool. And for those of you that are interested, this game weighs in around about 50 gig. So let's have a quick look at the options menu, and it's all customizable in-game instantly, you don't need a reset. So you can see I've got most stuff turned off here. The big problem, and the thing I'll get out of the way now, is that running on an AMD card, it just doesn't run as well as it should. Still don't really know exactly what's going on, but even at 1080 I'm still getting dips, and turning on vertical sync just makes the game run really sluggish and horrible. It's really weird, because if I crank up the resolution, the performance, although you get horrible dips, performance is still pretty good. But it just doesn't matter what resolution you're running on, you're just going to get dips, which is a shame. But you've got loads of options here anyway. If you're after some better performance, I'd advise turning global illumination off, stuff like water tessellation off, shadows drop it down to high, and then everything else you can leave on high, but the difference between high and very high isn't that great. So I suppose we probably should talk about the gameplay. Well, if you haven't already noticed, we've got a wingsuit here. And this is basically one of your main methods of travel, and we can fly, and the physics aren't really that realistic, because you can see I'm literally just completely floating about here, and it's really silly. Swimming underwater still looks absolutely brilliant, it really does. We've got the grappling hook, it's back, and we've got more functionality, and I will show you that a bit nearer the time when we get into some of the even cooler stuff. Weapons wise, we can carry three different weapons, so like your dual wield, your heavy, and then like a RPG or some sort of explosive. We've also got these planted explosives as well, that you can plant, and these are basically like cool bombs. If you want to get in a rebel drop, this is even more improved than before, because you can just pick things you want, and you unlock these as you unlock new bases. So we'll get a shotgun, we'll get some cool pistols, special, we'll just get a RPG. Let's keep it nice and basic. And then with the vehicles, we can literally get anything we want here. I want a plane, so let's just bang that plane down. Request the drop, throw the beacon, and then if we looked at the sky, in comes this massive crate. Really realistic. And then, wait for it, boom! And there's no way I'm going to get in that, is there? That was a poor drop. Maybe I should have thought about that better. And you collect these tokens as you basically pick up new go to new bases and unlock new sort of strongholds and things. Oh, I've already got that gun, that's why I can't get in there. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. I doubt this is going to work. Let's have a go anyway. Oh! Definitely not. Didn't quite go as to plan. I might recover. You never know. Or we might just die and blow up. Well, it was a good effort. I managed to travel 4 meters. Very good. In terms of sort of dying, it's actually pretty difficult. You can get shot a ridiculous amount of times and it's still not going to make too much difference. But things like car crashes and stuff you're very vulnerable to, so don't do it. All in all, it is quite silly. Right, now, the actual sort of missions, you have these icons here. I've maybe played about 8-9 hours in this game. Essentially, the thing I'm trying to do is you go to these settlements, you clear the settlements, and then you sort of unlock areas, and they go blue like you have done here. It takes a fair amount of time to do, and to do the whole map is going to take absolutely ages. But I have to say I'm looking forward to doing so. So we probably should go to a settlement. So let's find me. Where am I? I'm here. Nearest settlement is over here. We can fast travel. You get 1 fast travel token unless you're traveling to sort of somewhere that's in an area that you've already unlocked. But you can literally just go on top of their base, I believe, if you want. Quickest way to travel is a mixture of the wingsuit and then just using the parachute when you get a bit near. You can do all these sort of cool secondary, almost like challenges to unlock different mods. I'll show you them here under gear mods. So I've done a few, as you can see here. So like glass grenades, basically just means grenades explode as soon as they hit anything, and you can get some really cool things in here. And there are different missions that unlock different things. So you can see I've done a few. There's this one that's quite cool. You can double the number of tethers, so you can tether more stuff together, so they'll go up to 6. And then there's this one that I've got here, where I can hold down the trigger and then sort of zoom in even quicker. And those are just a few of many things that you can sort of unlock. And it's quite good because it really does encourage you to do these challenges, and the challenges themselves are actually pretty fun, I have to say. It depends what it is, but one of my particular favourites, oh dear, I just went through a bush there. One of my particular favourites has to be the one where you have an explosive car, and then you basically just have to drive that as quick as you can into a sort of collection of enemy vehicles, and then you just make one massive explosion and it goes slow motion, and it's pretty cool. And if you have never played Just Cause before, then you won't really understand that this game is deliberately about as silly as possible. It's almost like a more of a Saints Row style of game without the sort of crude sort of like sexual humor, I guess is the best way to put it, really. It's almost like just really silly and not at all sensible, but it doesn't take that to sort of crude levels. It's literally just about going around and blowing stuff up, as you can see here. Performance is not great on AMD cards, it's fair to say, but if you're running this on NVIDIA cards, I believe you'll have a much better time. But of course, when you get explosions and things like that, you're going to run into problems where your frames will drop, so do bear that in mind when you're picking your settings. But if you give yourself maybe 10 to 15, 20 frames a second in the bag, you're probably not going to see anything particularly too bad. If you do have an AMD card, I wouldn't say it's not worth buying, but you have to use the AMD beta drivers, and I think I'm experiencing a few issues with graphics card problems from these drivers, but the alternative is not to use them and then get some horrible shadowy problems that make the game pretty much unplayable. So in all honesty, if you have an AMD card, unless you really want to sort of do it, and play the game, I'd probably say it's, if you want to buy it, it's probably worth waiting till you know that the game's either been patched or the driver that AMD will release has been released. Nvidia, I haven't tested actually personally, but I've heard that there aren't really as many problems. There's not a Nvidia specific problem as far as I know anyway. So what I'm doing now anyway is I'm just sort of going around and causing some havoc. You can see one of the cool things here, you can tether two things together and then sort of hold it in, so you didn't really get to see that. But what I basically did was just got a helicopter and pushed it into a wall with a tether, which is quite cool. And you can do this with all sorts of things, so you can be really creative if you want and sort of tether one person to another person to another person to another person to a plane, or cars to planes, or just generally things like that. But it's absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous, and no part of the physics in this game makes particularly much sense, but that doesn't stop it being really, really fun to play. That's definitely the main advantage of playing a game like this, and I have to say it's something that I've probably got into maybe more than any of the other single players games that have come out recently, just because I can get in from a long day at work. You know, you come in, I like to sort of cook a decent dinner as well, so by the time I'm ready to sort of sit down and relax, we're getting on for sort of 9 o'clock, and you don't really feel like doing much. So this is the sort of game that I get on really well with, because it just means that you can come in, you can pick it up for about an hour, you can go around blowing stuff up, and 2 hours later, you stayed up later than maybe you should have done, but you've had a very good time doing so. Technically, other than the performance issues, I would definitely say it is pretty much a tour de force. It really is. Not just from a graphics perspective, I think the explosions look super realistic as well. And just the way the wingsuit and the parachute works, although it's not probably true to real life, that's pretty cool. Vehicle handling, though, I have to say isn't particularly brilliant. I'm not really sure what went wrong, because it was actually not too bad in Just Cause 2, but it feels quite heavy, but it doesn't feel like you've got much control, and it doesn't really matter what vehicle you're in. I sort of still experience this problem. And I say it's a problem, I mean, I guess the problem is, while there is emphasis on using vehicles, and you can take them to a garage once you've unlocked a settlement, and then sort of store them, and then you can call them in via one of those rebel drops that I did earlier. I guess there's just not really much incentive to go in vehicles, just because you've got this stupidly overpowered grapple hook that can just, and wingsuit that can just take you across the map. And if you want to go a little bit further, I would probably use the fast travel, and if I wanted to blow up a base, I'd probably use a helicopter. So there's not really much use for cars, I guess. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you love using the cars, but it was pretty much the same in Just Cause 2, really. In such a big game, you don't really need to use the cars. And that's, people like to compare this game to GTA, which I don't think is fair at all. Graphical bug there. But if you are someone that wants to go driving around, then maybe Grand Theft Auto is going to be a bit better, but that's not what this game is about at all. So there you go, done a settlement. Once you've sort of learned how it all works, and you can look at the map if you can't find a particular thing you need to blow up, you make good progress. But this is the love it or hate it bit about the game. It is very, very repetitive. While there are plenty of things to do, most of them revolve around going to a settlement and blowing it up. And if there are some missions, guess what you've got to do? You've probably got to go and blow something up or kill a few people. And while it's very enjoyable, I guess it's not really... I'm not really sure how long it would be enjoyable for if you literally wanted to sit down with a game and play it for months and months on end. The only real game that I've ever played that I've managed to do that have been multiplayer games. So even single player games like The Witcher 3 this year has been awesome. I haven't played that in a very long time now. But I don't think that I would necessarily have the same problem with Just Cause. I wouldn't be able to play it consecutively, but I definitely would sort of be up for picking it up maybe and just playing a bit sort of whenever I feel like it. I think it's definitely got that going for it, but then it definitely loses out if you literally want to sit with a game and play it for 50 hours. You probably are going to get a little bit bored before then. Oh dear, I can't have that. Let's have a look. Let's see what we've got with sports cars. Modern cars? No. Vintage? Off-road? Alright, well, go for this one. I drove it the other day, but you can see like there's some really cool cars you can get. Right, throw the beacon. And in we go. In terms of the story and the missions themselves, it's it hasn't... What? Is this a joke? Please, no. Oh, you can't just drop me a car that's blown up. Is it taking the Michaels? I think it's taking the Michaels. Not happy about that. But I guess when things like that, to be honest, you don't really care. You just reload the checkpoint and we're done. In terms of loading times, though, you'd strongly benefit from running this game off an SSD because the load times, they're not too bad once you're in game, but the initial load is one of the worst games out at the moment by a long shot in terms of loading time. It really is. It takes maybe 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes for me from clicking Just Cause 3 in Steam to actually opening, well, let's say opening, to actually get playing. It really does take a long time. So it's one of those things that you used to do when you had to sort of boot up your PC. You press the on button, you go away and you make a cup of tea while you're waiting. It's kind of one of those. It's a bit of a shame. I wonder what it's like on consoles. I imagine it can't be much better. I also find it uses quite a lot of RAM as well, and I found that performance has definitely increased, and there's definitely fewer stutters since I upgraded from 8GB of RAM to 16GB. And if you're trying to run this on 4GB, you might not even be able to run it at all. Right, we've got a mission to do. Literally. That's not what I wanted to do. Missions. Right. We want to go over here. Can't fast travel there. So we will have to. We will fast travel over here. There we go. And then I will basically wingsuit in, fly in, and do some damage from there. But yeah, I guess overall, the game, I think it's definitely worthy of anyone's Steam library. I think it really, really is. It's just, I guess, if you want my completely honest opinion, it's a case of when do you want to add it to your Steam library? Are you someone that needs to play Just Cause 3 now? Because especially if you are an AMD user, there's just not much point getting it now when you're probably going to have an inferior experience to what you are a bit later down the line, and the game will be a bit cheaper then as well. I definitely don't think anyone will have any complaints with the sort of asking price, and once they get hold of it, I don't think anyone's going to feel like they're not getting good value for money, because there is plenty of gameplay here. I guess it's just whether it's worth buying now, whether over game. Oh dear, that's absolutely terrible. It's whether it's worth buying now over other games. Because personally, if I was going to be buying 2 games at the moment, I probably would have gone Star Wars Battlefront and Call of Duty. Say what you will, but that's probably what I would have done. But the actual competition this game has, it's got so much at the moment, and with things like Fallout, Star Wars Battlefront, Call of Duty, even Assassin's Creed, all of those things like that, it's probably definitely the single player game I would want. But I'm not really sure whether you would necessarily miss it if you waited a couple months and got it maybe in a sale or something like that. But if you are wondering whether it's worth playing Just Cause... Did you just run me over? But if you're wondering whether it's worth playing Just Cause 3, absolutely. I mean, the title of the video, should you play Just Cause 3? I really think you should. I think it's great fun, and while the map is absolutely huge, it is fair to say a lot of that time you spend travelling, and it's not the most dense of maps. Story-wise, you get some cutscenes like this, and I suppose I probably should let you see a bit.
I'm hiding in plain sight. You like?
Try popping more and locking less. A lot of military vehicles around.
I tend to find that the cutscenes are almost a little bit,
You want me to come?
I don't know, I guess they're trying to be funny and they don't always make you laugh, but I guess that's the sort of thing with comedy. If it doesn't work, it's fairly amusing. Not bringing me in stitches, but it's pretty funny. Bring Mario a military vehicle. Stop running me over! I should be dead. 100% should be dead there. Bring a military vehicle. Okay. Where am I going to get that from? That's the question. Can it be any military vehicle? That's the question. Can I rebel drop it in, maybe? I'm assuming I can. Military cars. Ah, there we go. Let's call one of these in, request a drop. Please don't be broken when I get it. Please don't be broken. Wait for it. There we go. Thank you. Why? What is it with everyone? Why is everyone trying to break my cars? Right, here we go. You can also call in the rebels as well, though, with a flare. If you pick up a flare, you can... Oh dear, that's definitely not the right way, is it? If you pick up a flare, you can sort of call in backup, which is quite cool. In terms of sort of the multiplayer online aspects, it's basically you can set challenges for other people to do, and it will show you what you need to do to sort of beat other people's times and things like that. So it's one of the examples is like highest distance from the ground to the air. So how high can you get with a parachute from the lowest like sort of altitude? So you can't just start a mountain and oi! I just blew up one of my teammates, but that's not really my fault, is it? Right. I've got to drive a long way. Yeah. Reach the defector. Okay, long way. So yeah, the story it's amusing, but you're probably gonna forget it. I mean, I have no idea really what happened in Just Cause 2, and I think this will be the same. It's good at sort of getting you to go to new areas and sort of unlocking things and teaching you the game as sort of story would be. But the most fun you're going to have with this is just picking up a controller, or keyboard. Personally, I prefer controller. Picking up a controller, just going around and just generally blowing stuff up and just having a bit of a laugh, really. And if that's the sort of game you want, then this is definitely going to be a brilliant option for you. But if you want something a little bit more serious, then you know something like Fallout you might have more luck with. But I think you kind of already knew that. If you played Just Cause 2, I think you already know whether you're going to like Just Cause 3 or not. For me, it sort of does most of the things I want it to do, really.
I must reach the armed resistance. It is my intention to defect.
So we have a defector. Don't want to ruin too much of the story for you. That would be giving it all away. Right, escort your allies? Escort your allies to the safe house. Okay, I see. I'm literally just going, am I? And he's in the helicopter. So yeah, this is another sort of mission that you actually find you have to do quite a lot. You're sort of protecting people. But I think that's quite good, actually, because when you did these sort of things in Just Cause 2, you'd almost be doing this sort of stunt jumping on the cars. But this is more cool because you can actually shoot. I probably should have mentioned this. You can actually shoot now from within the parachute. So you've got two hands free, which is quite cool. And basically it just means that now you can... kill him! I'm doing terribly here. Come on! Thank you. There we go. Yeah, that looks beautiful. So yeah, if you're going to go and destroy a base, it's significantly easier than it was before, and you have much more control, and I just blew up Mario. Oh dear. Better try that one again. Yeah, it's alright. Sorry, failed. Try that again. So yeah, I think that kind of really sort of brings us to the conclusion, really. I think I've talked about pretty much everything you need to know. Just Cause 3. It's a much better version of Just Cause 2. But then again, as you'll be doing pretty much the same things, if you've, say, literally just come out of Just Cause 2, maybe you might want to wait a little bit. And definitely if you're running an AMD card, you're probably going to want to wait a bit just to make sure that all the issues have been ironed out. But if you're someone that wants to just have a game in your library that you can just basically just get a bit silly with, just go around shooting, blowing stuff up, and basically just causing chaos, then this is a great shout for you. Just don't expect a really deep story that you're going to be remembering for years, because you are certainly not going to get it. But in terms of improvements and things like that, it easily justifies the asking price, in my opinion. Oh dear. That was me putting the grappling hook together, by the way. And so they're now tied together. And now I'm going to throw a grenade at them. Boom. Thank you. Oh, no, no, he's going to run me over. Careful. Careful. I've just blown Mary up again. Whoops. Whoops. Normally when I do these sort of videos, I will finish the video, sort of get it uploading, go off and maybe do something else. But I guess the biggest compliment I can pay to Just Cause is that I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stop recording and then going to keep playing because it really is very, very fun. So before I start rambling now and sort of repeating myself, I think it's time to sort of wrap up this video. So thank you so much for checking it out. I really appreciate it as always. If you have any questions about the game, then they might have already been answered in the live stream that I did last week, and you can check that out on the channel. If you have any questions that weren't answered in that, or if you want a much quicker way of doing it, then just hit me up at PC Centric on Twitter. And then if you have any specific questions, then I can get them answered nice and quickly and easily. If you want more videos like this, then subscribe, because then you'll be able to see them as soon as they're released without any delay, and you won't have to worry about finding it. And you also get access to a load of other cool computer-based videos. If you have liked this video, then please do like the video, because it lets other people know that's a video worth watching. And I'm going to blow him up again, aren't I? Oh dear. I'm really not very good at this. Don't use the RPG. Don't use the RPG. So yeah, thank you so much for checking out this video. I really appreciated it as always. And I will see you in the next one.